And one of the signals that I wanted to be clear that was sent already was that we're vulnerable to penetration, and we haven't decided that we can investigate things done to us ourselves. Now this power to investigate, that shit works. I've been in some places where the FBI and other white law enforcement agencies and others have had a hard time finding the perpetrators of black people until the black people declared, that's all right, we'll find them my damn selves. Now, I was in Detroit. White fella ran over a 17-year-old black scholar student. Ran over him in the middle of the black community. Him and another white gentleman. They left. The brother laying there in the street dead. And the FBI said that they couldn't find the white boy. Well, I just happened to be coming in that next weekend, and we talked about it a long time, the brothers and sisters there in Detroit. And it was decided that we might have a better chance finding this white boy than the FBI. So on the evening news, there was a press conference held at the Malcolm X Center there on Dexter Avenue. And the community declared that they was going to find the white boy, and they took the white boy's face out the picture, put it on a wanted poster, and during the press conference ran into the street and started posting it up everywhere. We want this white boy. The FBI found the white boy by the time the 10 o'clock news came on. Right? I was at Iowa State there in Ames. You all probably saw the Donahue show and other reflections about racism in Iowa. It's true. White boy has been hidden away there. The state has a liberal perception, but it's tough on black people in Iowa. And we got to get back in the thing of jumping in cars and going to help people out again. We used to do that. We used to just all jump in the car. 300-400 of us came from different directions and went in and helped people. We got to start having Help Another City weekend. We need to do that. Because some things are out of order, and in some places they cannot hold it back. So we have to reinforce it. This takes some supervising responsibility. Somebody has to rise up and be responsible for more than just themselves. And this extra level of responsibility will give us an opportunity to fill in a lot of gaps. There are a lot of positions available in helping the Africans, the victims of white supremacy. As I go to many of these colleges, I've asked in many of the African communities, who runs certain things that have a predominant impact on our community? And almost uniformly, no one has ever known who run the IMF, the World Bank, the FEMA, the GAC. And I ask these questions as a way of seeing, after all of the things we've been to, because see, I know y'all go to a lot of stuff, and y'all like a lot of things, and we have really gotten heavy on the Afrocentric thing. But there's a void between our feelings and our ability to do what we're supposed to do, and the white boy know the gap. He know the gap. That's what I call now Intel-Pro. That's the gap of being able to match your frustration with the name of a known white supremacist. We are well aware now of an adjective called white supremacy. Now we got to find some supremacist to pin it on. Everything is done by somebody. So the last thing left is pinning it on them. The fingering. ID, up against the wall, you fucked our people. Yes, we must have some determination about this. But the problem is that in some places the line isn't held, the gaps are open. Hey, somebody could go, for example, I've gone, I tell you, hundreds of lectures to every city, every African-centered group, every major university, every major black university, and the questions that are asked always have the no response. So, any one of you in this room who are hearing me who are unemployed, how many of y'all in here are unemployed? Don't be ashamed, ain't nothing wrong with that. Shit, I'm unemployed. There's a job available for anyone who wants to make themselves an expert on the World Bank. I mean, every city I've gone into, when I asked about the World Bank, nobody knew. So I'm saying, having gone to all of those places, if you took 2-3 months and gathered all the information you could possibly find on just the World Bank and studied it in a way that you could stand up and translate that information back to your community like we're doing here today, there's a position awaiting you. Your people need you now. Ain't nobody gonna fall over their feet trying to be the person. Because everybody's so busy doing something else, they couldn't imagine. They don't even want to take a chance on themselves. I go to them colleges, they be writing them papers. The professor say, I want you to give me 10 pages on this double space. Give me 20 pages on. Then they leave college, they don't write shit. They don't write a paper for their people. I mean, it has no application. If it doesn't have a letter behind it, it has no value to them. Something was missed. There was a gap there. You get so smart, you don't know how to put it in a spot. And so there could be all sorts of profound assumptions and conclusions made by people who just take the time to gather the information and then take the risk. You see, if you talk to an African, how many of y'all talked to any Africans lately? Right? Okay. Who run the International Monetary Fund? Oh, you don't have to answer. This is my man. He knows. No, he don't. Who run the World Bank? Just got a new head of the World Bank. Nope, he used to head it 3 presidents ago. Now, you see, that's the job description for the one who will rise up to do it. You're sitting there listening to me because I knew where your gap was. Right? That's why I'm here. I knew the gap. Now, it ain't easy deciding that you got this gap because everybody don't want to throw down that somehow after every fucking thing we've been to, we still left without the critical information. That's now IntelPro. And I'm going to tell y'all there's some great people that you love a lot, but they wouldn't get caught fingering nobody for you. Right? That's how they keep in the game. And the game become how to get a little bit better off under these trying circumstances. Right? Well, I want to win. I believe that we can win this. We don't have to keep waiting forever to come to some conclusion that we're going to have to stand up and make some sort of decision, and then we got to do things. It's just that simple. And I'm proud to have the privilege to speak now. I'm not going to always have this privilege to speak to you because I'm going to become outlawed. Not because there's anything unlawful about what I do. It is in fact spiritual. But as times get tougher, that will become more and more of an obstacle to the opposition. Therefore, you will only get me in suppressed fashion. And don't worry about that, because I remember when Khomeini got thrown out of Iran, he went to France, and he threw down in cassette tape. And it went all the way back, Chet, went all the way back in, and on a certain day, everybody was asked to do a certain set of something. We're going to talk about those type of things, too. See, somehow we've got to come to some conclusions. So we're going to have to go out and help some people. So they was having cross burnings in Iowa when the students announced at Iowa State and Ames that they was going to go find the cross burners. And they didn't need the police. They had all kind of race forums and all this other stuff. And you know the Defamation League shows up and then they want to act like they're going to police something. And then the process goes on of the people being victimized and nobody calls a halt to it. So the students got up in the forum, all got in the doorway and announced they was leaving the meeting to go find the cross burners. And you know what happened, don't you? Right. That's right, Chad. They went right out and found them. Because the worst thing in the world is to let a black person catch a white person and do what they're supposed to do because you have the right to do this and they don't want you to be aware of your rights. Right? See, we could announce, we go find the Atlanta murderers. Obviously, the evidence is still here. Statute of limitations of murder never runs out. Okay, check. Now, let me find this notebook up here. We're going to have a little discussion. Some of it's going to be good. Some of it you're not going to like. Atlanta. All right. First thing, now some of you who heard the radio show last night, how many of y'all heard the radio show last night? So I guess I don't need to do the Malcolm X part, do I? About the Alex Haley? Do we need to do that? See, we put it out there, he already gone. Somehow, right when we needed this man. Because I had announced in LA that we was looking for him. He was up in Washington, Seattle area. He was coming down to UCLA. And I was at a lecture a couple of weeks ago. And we started making plans to meet him when he got there so we could ask him this critical information about what's located on page 418. Now, my statement to you is, I'm sure all of us read the book. But we didn't read the book. See, we're not looking at these things like footprints in the murder mystery of who murdered the black people. This is like Murder, She Wrote. Right? And we're looking for something, and we believe that at the core of negativity, at the center of the opposition, are the primary perpetrators of our grief. So we are in pursuit of them. This is a righteous opportunity because we can prove that they have wronged us. So we are in the responsibility of right and wrong. So you gain certain extra rights when you're in that position. Now I appreciate brother for buying this book for me, because I mentioned that I needed to use the book for the lecture. Brother just turned right around in First World Bookstore and bought the book. Brother Yusuf, I appreciate you formally for what you did for me yesterday, so that I can have the opportunity to share this with you. I said I need the book. Brother just threw down so that you can hear what the one page say. Now all y'all got the book, and I know what the page say by heart. But sometimes you need to read it so everybody know it come from there. See, we have a hard time when it comes down to, well, what did he show to prove it? And I always say we bring good white information, because we like that. Say, oh yeah, brother proved it. He brought Newsweek and Time and the Post. He got the good white books by the great white professors. Yes, there's no doubt about it. The brother has his finger on it. Hey, brother. So my suggestion is that, as brother said, am I ready? I don't need these things. I know it all. I know it all. But if I had to say Agnew wrote a book, say Haig was going to kill him, if I didn't show you the cover, you wouldn't believe me. So I had to go carry the cover. I paid extra money to carry all these boxes so I could show you the source of the backup behind it, because my job is to convince you that we've had enough and that we got the proof. You don't have the time to go get it. So that's my job for you. Right? So I have to be on the point to say the proof of the murder mystery of who is trying to kill the Africans. Page 418, autobiography of Malcolm X. And we can just make this for the record. I like to make these things like trials. I'm a prosecutor. I'm prosecuting white supremacy, and you are the jury. And at different times I will ask you for some sort of affirmation one way or another. This is a proactive relationship. And if we're going to have a revolution, that's check. Not all right, that's check. If we're going to have a revolution, then we ought to surely prepare to have some form of justice system. You here in Atlanta ought to have a meeting one day to pick 50 elders that beyond any reason of a doubt the community will accept as the arbitrators of the law. And you ought to come up with some force or some group of people who everyone accepts as clean enough to enforce the law and start the process of the transition. If there's an appeal of an injustice, the appeal is made to the court. Now y'all got to get a court quick here, because I got some grievances that I want to bring to the elders over some things related to me. So check on that. Let's get that quick. But I'm gonna make the stipulations here, so I'll be waiting for my hearing. In Washington, D.C., it's page 418. And if we don't build no justice system now, we won't have no need for one. Right? You will get to use what you make preparations for. Check. In Washington, D.C. and New York City, at least powerful civic, private, and governmental agencies and individuals were keenly interested in what Malcolm X was saying abroad. This is the epilogue section of the autobiography of Malcolm X. As I mentioned last night, this is the only portion of the book where, in the agreement between the two brothers, that Malcolm agreed not to edit or censor the epilogue. It was Alex Haley's only moment to write just what he chose to write. So this is page 418 of Alex Haley's A Part to Itself. Now, every time somebody do something to the people, different times they give confessions. You got to hear the confession, because that's the only way you can get some reconciliation, is to have some confession. Right? That's some message. Now, this is his confession for something that he felt sorry about, but the people didn't know to exercise it on him.